A French court has found former surgeon Joel Le Scouarnec guilty in one of the country's worst child sex abuse cases. He has been sentenced to 20 years in prison for sexually assaulting nearly 300 people. The 74-year-old faced more than 100 counts of rape and nearly 200 sexual assaults. Most of the victims were children at the time. The abuse spanned 25 years. For more, Ross Cullen joins us live now from Paris. Ross, what more can you tell us about the court's verdict?
Well, this happened just a couple of minutes ago. The decision by the court to impose a 20-year jail sentence on the disgraced former surgeon here in France, Joel Le Scouarnec. Now, he admitted hundreds of cases of abuse. He's actually already serving time in jail. He's serving a 15-year sentence that was imposed in 2020 for raping and assaulting 4 children, including 2 of his own nieces. And then this is on top of that 15 years that he's serving already. So this case is perhaps the biggest child abuse case in French history. 299 victims of Joel Le Scouarnec, of whom 256 were under 15 at the time that they were attacked by the former surgeon. He was usually attacking these children while they were under anaesthetic or while they were recovering post-surgery between 1989 and 2014. And now his lawyers were arguing that he was utterly guilty, that he admitted his guilt, but that he was not asking for leniency, but that he had been fully respectful of the court. He wasn't posturing. They said that it was a chance perhaps for him to try to become a better person. But the prosecution wanted 20 years, which was the maximum that could be imposed by the judge, despite there being nearly 300 cases of abuse and more than 250 children attacked by the former surgeon. And they have found him guilty, and they have also imposed that 20-year sentence just in the last few minutes.
It's a long time coming for France, isn't it, Ross? What is the mood like for the victims and wider public today, given the magnitude of this trial?
Well, it's actually strange because of the magnitude of this trial. It has had nowhere near the same coverage, the same international and national interest as last year we saw for the Giselle Pelicot trial, the mass rape trial of her husband and 50 other men. That garnered attention not just in France or in Europe, but worldwide. This case, which arguably is the worst case of child abuse in French history, there are far more victims. There's not been the same interest here in France. The morning news this morning, the headlines were about an ongoing strike by taxi drivers, by the fact there was a fire in a campsite just ahead of the holiday season, and also there was discussion and controversy over the building of a new road. The headlines that today there could be the verdict and sentencing of this 74-year-old former surgeon was way down the interest, just not being reflected in the French news, let alone European news or international coverage. So that is something that's been frustrating the prosecution, frustrating the lawyers representing these hundreds of victims. There just hasn't been the same interest shown in France or worldwide as there was for the case last year. That totemic figure, the bravery shown by Giselle Pelicot, really, she was front and centre of a lot of that trial, the way that she stood up and her courage. But this time round, there just hasn't been the same interest. There could be a further trial as well, because there potentially are many more victims who weren't represented at this trial. The surgeon, the former surgeon Joel Le Scouarnec, kept a detailed notebook of every single case, every single time he raped a child. He wrote it down and noted it down. He was living at home watching child abuse online with child-sized dolls in his house. It really was a case of utmost depravity with a lot of harrowing interest and harrowing details for the court. But we have now had that decision. He has been found guilty and sentenced to 20 years in jail.
Ross, thank you very much for that. Ross Cullen there reporting live from Paris.